You know, the idea of growing a real fruit-bearing lemon tree in your living room, it sounds kind of like science fiction, doesn't it? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the actual science that makes it possible to have a little miniature orchard right there in your apartment.
I mean, who hasn't had that dream, right? Plugging a fresh lemon right off the branch for your tea or drink, but then you look around and yeah, all you've got is a windowsill. But what if I told you that dream is totally within reach? Okay, so here's the big problem we have to solve. A normal citrus tree out in nature, it wants to be a giant. We're talking 30 feet tall, or even more. But the one you can grow indoors tops out at maybe 6 feet, so what gives? How do you get that massive difference? Well, the solution isn't some kind of magical, genetically tiny tree. No, it's way, way cleverer than that. It's a scientific secret, one that's literally hiding right under the soil. So let's dig in and uncover this secret. To really get this, you have to realize the key isn't the lemon part of the tree at all. It's what the lemon-producing branch is grafted onto. It all boils down to one crucial component, the rootstock. So what is a rootstock? Think of it like the chassis and engine of a car. It's the bottom half of the plant, the root system. And then the part you actually want, the fancy lemon-producing branch, gets attached right on top. And that rootstock? It calls all the shots. It determines the tree's final size, its power, and even how well it stays healthy. When it comes to making these awesome little indoor citrus trees, there is one absolute rock star in the world of rootstocks. It's this incredible mutant plant with, and I'm not kidding, the best name ever, the flying dragon. This little guy is the hero of our whole story.
And believe me, the flying dragon looks as cool as it sounds. Its branches are all gnarly and twisted, growing in this weird zigzag shape. But that's not just for looks. That twisted growth is the secret to its power. It acts like a natural brake on the tree's size, it slows down its metabolism so it can handle a chilly winter, and this is the really important part. It creates this super dense, compact root ball that's just perfect for living in a pot. And the results are just wow. We are talking about a tree that's 50 to 75% smaller than it would normally be. The roots are tailor-made for a container. It helps the tree survive the cold by making it go semi-dormant. It even fights off common diseases. So you see, this rootstock doesn't just make the tree smaller, it completely re-engineers it for life inside your house. Okay, so part one solved. We have the perfect plant thanks to our flying dragon rootstock. But that's only half the battle. Now we face challenge number 2. How in the world do you recreate the power of the sun inside your apartment? And for that, we need to talk a little physics.
Now, don't let this big technical term freak you out. PPFD, all it really means is how much usable light is actually hitting the leaves. You can think of it as just a way to count the number of little packets of light energy, photons, that are landing on a leaf every single second. It's not about brightness, it's about the actual fuel the plant can use to grow.
And here's the thing you've got to understand. The tree's need for that fuel changes a lot. Just to grow leaves, it needs a pretty decent amount of light, somewhere in the 400 to 600 ppfd range. But if you want it to make flowers, that number jumps way up. And then, to actually grow a lemon from that flower, we're talking a huge energy jump, all the way up to 1,000 ppfd.
Think of it like an energy ladder that the tree has to climb. Step 1 is leaves. Step 2, flowers. Step 3, fruit. And you just can't get to the top of the ladder on a step 1 energy budget. A sunny window might get you on the first rung, maybe even the second. But to get fruit, to hit that top rung, yeah, you're almost definitely going to need a good grow light. All right, we've got the plant, we've got the light. Now let's talk about the climate. It's this delicate dance between the air, the water, and the temperature. And if you get this dance wrong, well, you're going to face the single most common headache for indoor citrus growers. I'm talking about winter leaf drop. This drives people nuts. Your tree looks amazing, you bring it inside to protect it from the cold, and then bam, it just starts dropping all its leaves, and they look perfectly green and healthy. The tree isn't sick, it's having a meltdown because of a very specific environmental mismatch. Okay, so here's what's going on. The pot is on your cool floor, right? So the roots get cold, and below about 55 degrees, they basically go to sleep. But the sun comes through the window and warms up the leaves. The leaves wake up and start doing their thing. They're transpiring, basically breathing out water. And they're yelling down to the roots, hey, we need water up here. But the roots are cold and sleepy and just can't pump it fast enough. So the tree panics.
To stop itself from drying out completely, it hits the emergency eject button and drops its leaves. So avoiding things like winter leaf drop is all about managing the whole system. You've got the engineered plant, you've set up the environment, and now the final piece of the puzzle is you. You are now the guardian of this little ecosystem, and your job is to keep it fed and protected. And the really cool part is your tree will tell you exactly what it needs. It's always sending you signals, you just have to learn to speak its language. And most of that language is written on its leaves. So let's learn a few phrases. See how the new leaves are yellow but the veins are still green? That's your tree screaming, "I need more iron." But what if it's the old leaves at the bottom that are turning yellow all over? That's a totally different message. That means I need nitrogen. See? Every pattern is a specific clue.
As the guardian, you've got a little checklist. Number 1, pH. You have to keep the soil slightly acidic. If you don't, it doesn't matter how much you fertilize. The roots literally can't absorb the nutrients. It's called nutrient lockout. Number 2, pest control. Dry indoor air is heaven for pests like spider mites, so you've got to keep an eye out. And number 3, my favorite, you have to be the bee. There are no bees in your living room, so it's up to you to take a little paintbrush and move pollen from one flower to another. That's how you get lemons.
Okay, one last thing that freaks people out. You do everything right, your tree is covered in tons of tiny little baby lemons, and then most of them fall off. Don't panic. This is totally normal. A healthy tree will drop up to 75% of its fruit on purpose. It's not failing, it's being smart. It's focusing all its energy on making a few really great lemons instead of 100 tiny weak ones. And that's it. That's the payoff. When you put it all together, the crazy science of the flying dragon rootstock, the physics of getting the light just right, the chemistry of the soil, that impossible dream suddenly becomes very, very possible. You're literally harvesting fresh lemons in your apartment. So when you think about it, this is way more than just a cool houseplant, right? It's a tiny, self-contained, high-tech farm. And it makes you wonder, if we can master these complex biological systems on such a small scale in an apartment, what does that mean for the bigger picture? What could it mean for the future of hyperlocal food, for urban farming, for growing what we need right where we live?